Schlockmeister fans, a modern horror classic, in my opinion. It Follows. Let's check it out. This is Annie. Something's clearly wrong. The next day, Annie is discovered on the beach. Not in the greatest shape. The blonde girl is Jay. She's the star of our film. She's going on a date.
Now, without telling me.
The guy she just met.
Pick a person that you'd want to trade places with. They can be anyone for whatever reason.
Their relationship quickly progresses. Then it takes a post-coital odd turn.
It's gonna follow you. Somebody gave it to me, and I passed it to you.
We're now going to catch a glimpse of it that's following him, and now her. Like a sexually transmitted disease, he's passed it on to her.
You can get rid of it, okay? Just sleep with someone as soon as you can. Just pass it along. If it kills you, it'll come after me.
She's obviously freaked out now. She doesn't know what to think, what to believe. And the guy she met just disappears, and back in school again.
I am Lazarus.
She sees it.
Come from the dead. Come back to tell you all. I shall tell you all.
And nobody else can see it but her. She encounters it in her kitchen, peeing on itself.
Hey.
Nobody else can see that thing either. They try to track down Paul, the guy who gave it to her. This was a house he was briefly renting. They're looking for some sort of clues as to who he actually was. And they find a clue.
You recognize the jacket?
Lost in high school.
Somebody's gotta know his real name.
Eventually they find him and he tells them the story.
What's wrong with you? I can still see it. It's not done with me either, okay? And like I told you, all you can do is pass it along to someone else.
So they decide to get Jay out of there, and they're all going to hang out at a beach house for a while. Of course, that thing can slowly find her. And it does.
Jay, what is it? Help! Jay, please!
Stop shooting!
But that can't stop her either.
Craig.
She fled the beach house, got into a car accident. She's in the hospital now, but her friend decides she's going to come, or he's going to come and take it from her. The fun way. That guy lives across the street from her, and that night she sees somebody entering after breaking the window. Greg does open the door. It's the last thing he does. So what's Jay going to do now? Well, she sees three guys on a boat, and, well, she's a girl, so she's going to offer herself to them. But later on, as they're leaving with her friends, she sees a guy on the roof. Her friends come up with some sort of plan to try to get the creature, I guess. They're going to try to lure it to a swimming pool and perhaps fry it. And it shows up. It starts chucking things at her. They shot it, yeah, but as you know, this thing is relentless and everything is temporary. Her friend Paul then volunteers to take it from her. And then Paul goes out looking for hookers. The movie ends with Jay and Paul walking down the street. Somebody is following them. Is it? Who knows? All right. Let's talk about this movie called It Follows. This movie I actually saw in the theater. I think it came out in 2014. I'll just say right off the bat, I love this movie. I think this is a fantastic film, probably one of the best horror movies, if not the best horror movie of the last 10 years, maybe even longer. What we have here is kind of like a metaphor for sexually transmitted diseases. We have a killer that just basically is called It, and it follows you around. It follows you around slowly, though. It's an invisible killer to everybody else except the victim, potential victim, and it slowly stalks you. If you go 20, 30, 40 miles away, it will slowly stalk you and get to you eventually. You just got to keep moving to get away from this thing. If it gets you, touches you, you're pretty much toast. So anyway, but how is this thing transferred? Well, at the beginning of this movie, we have this girl who ends up dead on a beach after we see her running around, running away from something. Later on, we see this other girl named Jay. She's on a date with this guy named Paul, a guy that she just met. They end up having sex, and then after they're done having sex, Paul knocks her out with some ether or something. Then he ties her up in a wheelchair and tells her what's going to happen. Look, there's somebody stalking you, and it's going to get you. Now, you got to just keep moving. Otherwise, if it gets you, then it's going to come after me. Basically, you transfer this thing through sex. You have sex with somebody, the creature's going to come after that person. So if you have sex, if that person has sex with somebody else, it'll go after that person. But once the creature gets that person, it goes to the original transfer. So it keeps going and going and going. It just doesn't stop. So she's skeptical at first, obviously, but then she starts seeing this It thing show up in her life. At first, it's an old woman. It looks like an old woman. No, again, nobody else can see this creature but her. Then it's this creepy woman in the kitchen who's peeing on herself with a boob out. And then it's a 7'7" monster guy that shows up in her bedroom. Eventually, her friends believe her, and they try to get her to a beach somewhere a long ways away, but the creature shows up there. Ultimately, her friends and her, they decide they're going to try to kill this thing, and they lure it to a swimming pool at night. And of course, it shows up, and it starts throwing things at her in the pool, appliances, things. I think they were going to try to electrocute it, shock it, whatever. Now, you can shoot this thing, and it might slow it down briefly, and that's what happens in this pool. They end up shooting it in the head, and it seems to have died, but we know it's not gone for good. And then the movie just kind of ends. A friend of hers has sex with her to kind of take it from her, and then he goes out looking for some prostitutes, allegedly maybe just to spread it out to somebody out there, who knows. And then who knows where it could go with the prostitute, right? So, but that's what happens. The last thing in the movie is this friend of hers and her just walking down the street. We do see somebody following them behind there. We don't know if that's the killer or not, but that's how the movie ends. Good movie. So that's it. So anyway, It Follows. Again, I think this is a fantastic, fantastic film. I really, really do. Just the fact that there is this slow-moving, stalking creature coming after you is terrifying. It really is. Plus, there's a booming soundtrack in here, which I really, really like as well. It just really sets the tone for this thing. The actors and actresses in this movie are people that I never heard of, and I don't know how much they've done since then as well. But anyway, I love this movie. There's been talk about a sequel, at least I read something about it, but it hasn't happened yet. And I'm surprised because this movie is great. It really is. Even if you look at the Metascore for this, it's like an 83. That's green if you look on IMDb. That's like Oscar stuff right there. So anyway, check it out. It's called It Follows. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this already, and I think it's great, and I hope you do too. Leave some comments. It Follows. Watch it. Bye.